Welcome to Monk's Temple. Settle in, wherever you are. Let the space around you hold you for a while. This is a space of inquiry, not dogma, of gentle exploration, not forceful instruction. We are going to journey into a question that lives in the pulse of our modern lives, a question whispered in the rush of a deadline, thrumming in the chest before a difficult conversation, screaming in the silence of overwhelm. How do we remain calm, truly calm, when the pressure mounts? The answer we will explore does not come from a modern self-help book, but from a perennial wisdom stream over 2.5 millennia old. It is the psychological brilliance of the Buddha, framed not as a religion, but as a practical, actionable map of the human mind. Let us begin not with the storm, but with the sky. Imagine for a moment that your awareness, your fundamental consciousness, is like the sky, vast, open, inherently clear and peaceful. It is the canvas upon which everything appears. Now, the weather of life arises within this sky, clouds of thought, storms of emotion, sunshine of joy, and the heavy, low-pressure systems of stress. Our fundamental error, the source of our suffering, is that we become the weather. We see a storm cloud, an angry word from a colleague, a looming financial worry, and we forget we are the sky. We contract into the cloud, believing we are nothing but that dark, churning form. We say, I am stressed. I am anxious. I am overwhelmed. The sky does not say, I am a cloud. The sky simply holds the cloud, knows the cloud is passing, and remains, untainted, itself. The core of Buddhist psychology is this radical re-identification. You are not the passing weather of your experience. You are the aware space that witnesses it. This leads us to the first and most transformative principle we must internalize, the principle of impermanence, or anicca. This is not a philosophical idea to agree with. It is a law of existence to be directly observed. Everything that arises in your field of experience, every single sensation, thought, emotion, and external circumstance, is in a state of flux. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. It is a wave that rises, peaks, and falls back into the ocean. The pressure you feel. It is a wave. The anger. A wave. The blissful peace. Also a wave. The problem is not the existence of the difficult wave. The suffering is our desperate, often unconscious, attempt to freeze the wave, to make the unpleasant one stop and the pleasant one last forever. We nail the storm cloud to the sky and then lament the permanent darkness. We cling. And in that clinging, we take what is inherently fleeting and construct a solid, painful world from it. Consider this, a harsh criticism is spoken. The sound waves hit your ear and are gone in an instant. The event, in objective reality, is over. Impermanent. But what does the mind do? It takes that fleeting sound and replays it. It writes a screenplay around it, imagines the other person's contempt, projects future slights, and weaves a whole identity of the wronged one. We are no longer dealing with the initial, impermanent event. We are living in a museum of pain that we curate and maintain with our own mental energy. The pressure builds not from the outside event, but from our internal resistance to letting it follow its natural course. To arise, and to pass away. So, the foundational skill for calm under pressure is to cultivate the deep, visceral knowing, this too is a wave. This too is passing. I am the ocean, not the wave. Here is an story to ground this truth. Let's call it the lighthouse keeper. Imagine a solitary lighthouse on a rugged coastline. The keeper's job is not to stop the storms. His job is to maintain the light, regardless of the weather. A fierce gale rolls in. Waves the size of buildings crash against the rocks, wind screams around the tower, rain lashes the windows. The old keeper feels the tower tremble. He hears the awesome, terrifying power. But he does not run down to the rocks and try to shout the storm into submission. He doesn't pretend the storm isn't happening. He acknowledges its fury with a respectful nod. Then, he turns his attention to his one task. He trims the wick, he checks the fuel, he ensures the great lens is clean and turning. He tends the light. The storm rages outside. His calm, purposeful attention is inside, on his duty. The ships at sea do not need him to stop the storm, they need the steadfast, unwavering beam cutting through the darkness and chaos. Your mind under pressure is that lighthouse. The storm is the stressful situation, the financial worry, the family conflict, the professional demand. Your light is your conscious, anchored awareness. Your practice is not to stop the storm, often you cannot. But to steadfastly tend to the light of your own presence, your breath, your wise attention. The storm, by its nature, will expend its energy. It is impermanent. The light can remain constant. If this metaphor of the lighthouse keeper, tending an inner light amidst outer storms, speaks to you, then consider this an invitation to make Monk's Temple a part of your regular maintenance. By subscribing, you ensure this beacon of mindful remembrance reaches you, helping you polish the lens of your awareness not just when the gales hit, but in the calm days that prepare you for them. This understanding of impermanence and our misidentification is the bedrock. But wisdom must be married with practice. We need a tool, a direct line to that sky-like awareness when the clouds are thick. That tool is closer than you think. It is the constant, rhythmic rhythm of your own being. We will explore that next. Let us continue. We have established the ground. You are the sky, not the weather, the ocean, not the wave. You understand, intellectually perhaps, that the crushing pressure is a passing storm cloud. But in the moment, when the heart hammers against the ribs and the mind screams its catastrophic prophecies, that intellectual understanding can feel paper-thin, useless. Theory evaporates in the heat of panic. This is where the Buddha's genius moves from philosophy to practical technology. He gave us an anchor, a fail-safe tether to pull us back from the turbulent waves of thought into the depths of the present moment. That anchor is the breath. This is not a mystical secret. It is a physiological and psychological master key. The breath is a unique phenomenon. It dwells in the borderland between the autonomic and the voluntary. Your heart beats, your liver functions, without your conscious command. But your breath? You can let it run on autopilot, or you can, right now, decide to take a deep, slow inhale and a long, controlled exhale. It is a bridge between the conscious mind and the unconscious body. More importantly, it is a live feed of your emotional state. Anxiety produces short, shallow, chest-bound sips of air. Calm produces deep, slow, diaphragmatic waves. This is a two-way street. The state affects the breath, and critically, the breath can directly influence the state. The Buddha's teaching of anapanasati, mindfulness of breathing, is the systematic training of this relationship. It is not about achieving a special state of bliss. It is about establishing a familiar, neutral home base in the direct sensory reality of the body. When you are lost in a terrifying future or the painful past, which is where all pressure and anxiety truly live. The breath is always happening now. It is your lifeline back to the present, the only place where you can actually exert any agency, the only place where impermanence can be observed in real time. Think of it as the homing beacon. Imagine your mind is a sophisticated spacecraft, capable of incredible voyages into the imagined futures of disaster and the replayed pasts of regret. In these voyages, you get lost. The controls freeze. Alarms blare. The pressure of being lost is immense. But in your cockpit, there is a single, simple button labeled homing beacon. When pressed, it does not solve the complex problem immediately. It does one thing: it reorients your vessel, with a quiet, unshakable signal, back to your home coordinates, the coordinates of here and now. The breath is that button. It is not the solution to your financial problem or your relationship conflict. It is the action that stops the dizzying spin through mental space and brings you back to ground control, to a place of stability from which a wise response can be launched. Let's illustrate with a story: the code and the candle. Rohan was a cybersecurity analyst. One evening, during a routine check, he found it, a silent, sophisticated breach. Data was being siphoned. The pressure was absolute: a ticking clock, corporate liability, professional ruin. His mind exploded into a fractal nightmare of code, consequences, and blame. His fingers hovered over the keyboard, frozen. He was deep in the terrifying future. Then, he remembered his beacon. He pushed his chair back from the blinding light of his triple monitors. On his desk was a simple, unscented candle. He lit it. He set a timer on his phone for 2 minutes. For those 120 seconds, he did not think about the breach, the code, or the clock. His sole instruction was this: watch the flame, and feel the breath moving in your body. He saw the breath stir the flame ever so slightly. He felt the cool air enter his nostrils, the expansion of his ribs, the warm release on the exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Flame flicker. The panic was still there, like a pounding on a distant door. But in the center of his awareness was the quiet rhythm of breath and flame. When the timer chimed, he opened his eyes. The problem was unchanged. But he had changed. He had returned from the future catastrophe to the present moment reality. His mind, now slightly clearer, offered the first step: isolate the server. Not the final solution, but the sane, immediate next action. The pressure remained, but it was now a context, not his entire identity. He could work with it, not from within it. This leads to the crucial, non-negotiable prerequisite: the peacetime drill. You cannot, in good faith, expect to remember and use the homing beacon in the chaos of a cyber attack, a heartbreak, or a public speaking disaster if you have never practiced pushing the button on a clear, calm day. This is perhaps the most overlooked aspect of cultivating calm. We want the tool to work in crisis, but we refuse to oil it and learn its mechanism in peace. The Buddha's path is one of training, of bhavana, cultivation. It is mundane. It is repetitive. It is the sweat in peacetime so you bleed less in war. Your daily life is full of drill grounds. The red traffic light. The queue at the coffee shop. The 60 seconds your computer takes to boot up. These are not annoyances to be endured, they are perfect, gift-wrapped opportunities for a rep, in that moment, instead of reaching for your phone to feed the restless mind, you simply feel your feet on the floor, and follow 3 breaths. All the way in. All the way out. You are not trying to achieve anything. You are simply familiarizing the mind with the feeling of coming home. You are creating a neural pathway so well-trodden that when the earthquake hits, your mind will instinctively, almost automatically, start walking that path back to the breath. It becomes the default, not the desperate, forgotten last resort. So the practice for calm under pressure begins not when you are under pressure. It begins now. It begins in this moment of relative ease, as you listen. It begins with the next breath you take. Observe it. Don't change it. Just know, this is an in-breath. This is an out-breath. You are tuning the instrument before the concert. You are checking your homing beacon's signal strength while still safely in port. The storm will come. That is not pessimism, it is the nature of a weather system. Your task is not to control the weather. Your task is to build a sturdy, well-anchored lighthouse, and to know the beacon's switch so intimately that finding it in the dark, with wet, trembling hands, becomes second nature. We've spoken of the sky, the anchor, and the drill. But there is a force that can shatter our calm from within, a weight we carry that makes us stagger in the storm. It is the burden of the unforgiven past. To find true, resilient calm, we must learn the art of letting go. Let us continue. We have the sky-like awareness, the anchor of the breath, and the discipline of the peacetime drill. Yet, a profound obstacle often remains, one that lurks in the shadows of our hearts and can sabotage our calm more quickly than any external event, the burden of resentment, the clenched fist of unforgiveness. To navigate pressure with true serenity, we must venture into the territory of the heart. We must explore a Buddhist principle that is not passive acquiescence but active liberation. Forgiveness, understood through the lens of metta, loving kindness, and, once again, the unassailable truth of anicca. Forgiveness, in the context of the Buddha's teachings, has nothing to do with condoning harmful behavior or foolishly re-entering toxic situations. It has everything to do with physics. Holding a grudge is an act of internal combustion. You are continually burning the past event as fuel for present misery. You are drinking poison and hoping the other person gets sick. The person you cannot forgive may be living freely, utterly unaware of the prison you have built for yourself in their name. Your resentment is a heavy stone you carry into every new stressful situation. When a new pressure arrives, a work deadline, a family obligation, you are not just carrying that weight, you are carrying the stone. No wonder you stumble. No wonder your calm shatters so easily. The Buddhist path reframes forgiveness as the ultimate practice of letting go of what is already gone. The hurtful action is past. It is a completed wave in the ocean of time. By refusing to forgive, you are attempting to make that past wave a permanent, solid monument in your present mind. You are fighting impermanence itself. You are saying to reality, that event should not have passed, it should remain here, forever, as a defining feature of my landscape. This is a recipe for perpetual suffering and a profound fragility under pressure. A mind cluttered with the sharp, heavy debris of past grievances has no space to meet a present challenge with clarity and poise. Imagine you are at a bustling train station, about to embark on an important journey. You have a new, well-packed bag for this trip. But you also insist on carrying a second, enormous, ancient suitcase. It is battered, locked shut, and incredibly heavy. You don't know what's inside it anymore, old papers, broken things, stones, but you've been carrying it for years. Every time you have to hurry to catch a train, every time you need to navigate a crowded platform, this old suitcase throws you off balance. It bangs against your legs, it makes you sweat, it consumes your attention. The new journey, the present moment pressure, is difficult enough. But you are making it nearly impossible by refusing to put the old suitcase down. Forgiveness is not about opening that suitcase and declaring its contents wonderful. It is the simple, profound act of setting it down on the platform and walking away. You acknowledge it existed. You are not denying its weight. But you choose to stop carrying it into your future. The relief is immediate. Your arms are free. Your balance returns. You can now run for your train, or stand calmly, without being pulled over by a ghost from a trip you took long ago. Let's see this in a story. We'll call it the architect's blueprint. Elena was a talented architect whose early career was shaped by a brilliant but cruel mentor, Marcus. He publicly shredded her designs, took credit for her ideas, and left her with a deep well of professional insecurity. Years later, Elena had her own firm. She was successful, but the ghost of Marcus lived in her mind. Before every major client presentation, a high-pressure moment, his critical voice would echo in her head, amateurish. Derivative. They'll see right through you. This internal pressure was often worse than the external one. She carried the old suitcase. Her turning point came not through confrontation with Marcus, but through a meditation practice. On her cushion, she began, as directed, wishing well for herself. May I be safe. May I be peaceful. Then, hesitantly, she directed it toward Marcus. May he be safe. May he be peaceful. It felt false, like a lie. She wasn't wishing him well. She was trying to wish the hurt away. But she persisted, not as an act toward him, but as an act of surgical removal for herself. She visualized not Marcus the man, but the pain he represented as a dark, heavy knot in her own chest. With each breath, she imagined sending a softening light of, may you be free, not to him, but directly to that knot. She was practicing forgiveness as internal ecology, clearing a blocked stream in her own heart. Weeks later, in the elevator riding up to a pivotal presentation, the old panic in Marcus's voice arose. But this time, alongside it, arose the practiced phrase, may you be free. It wasn't for him. It was for the knot in her chest. She took a breath, felt the knot, and mentally offered the phrase. The voice didn't vanish, but it lost its amplification. It became a faint, background whisper, not a roaring dictator. She walked into the boardroom. The pressure was intense. The clients, the models, the future of her firm. But the old suitcase was not in her hand. Her arms were free to gesture with confidence. Her mind was clear enough to listen and respond, not react from old fear. She had forgiven not to exonerate Marcus, but to evict him from her present moment experience. Her calm under that professional pressure was fortified because she had lightened her load before she even entered the room. This is the alchemy. Forgiveness and loving kindness are not moral imperatives for the sake of others, they are essential hygiene for your own mental and emotional clarity under pressure. They are how you declutter the inner world so that when a new storm hits, there are fewer loose, sharp objects flying around in a gale. You create a clean, open space within from which to respond. Your peacetime drill must include this heart training. For 5 minutes a day, practice the phrases. Start with yourself, for you cannot pour from an empty cup. Then, move to a benign friend, a pet, a loved one. Then, try a neutral person, the cashier you see daily. Finally, and only when ready, direct it toward the difficult person, or more wisely, toward the pain they caused, which you still hold. You are not rewriting history. You are changing your present relationship to its echo. You are learning to set down suitcases. We have now equipped ourselves with perspective, the sky. A tool, the breath, a discipline, the drill, and a heart practice, letting go. It is time to see how these elements come together, not in theory, but in the messy, beautiful, pressured reality of a human life. Let's walk through some detailed stories of application. Let us continue. We now have a toolkit, the wisdom of impermanence, the anchor of the breath, the discipline of daily practice, and the heart's capacity to let go. These are not separate tools, but interlocking parts of a single, resilient system for navigating pressure. True mastery is seen in their fluid integration in the moments life presses down. Let's step into the stream of modern life and witness this system in action through a series of new, original stories. Each story is a different landscape, a different kind of storm, but the same inner principles apply. Dr. Eris Thorne was a neurosurgeon. The pressure in his operating room was not metaphorical, it was absolute, a silent, sterilized intensity where a tremor could change a life. One complex procedure, deep into a delicate tumor resection, an unexpected vessel bled. A sudden, crimson bloom in the field of vision. The monitor alarms chirped a steady, rising rhythm. The pressure in the room spiked. The fellow assisting him froze. Eris felt the familiar electric jolt of adrenaline, the tightening in his own shoulders. The old, untrained response would be to rush, to move with panic-fueled speed. But Eris had a ritual, drilled over 10,000 hours of peacetime practice. He called it the pause. He did not look up. He did not speak. For the space of 3 heartbeats, he completely stilled his hands. In that stillness, he did one thing, he felt the soles of his feet in his surgical clogs, grounding into the floor. He took one conscious, full breath, inhaling through his nose, exhaling through his mouth, visible under his mask. In that breath, he connected to the sky-like awareness. The crisis was a storm cloud, he was the sky holding it. The bleeding was an impermanent event to be met, not a permanent catastrophe. The breath anchored him to the now. The panic of the future, the patient will crash, receded. Into the space created by that pause flowed his training. His voice, when he spoke to his team, was calm, a low directive. Suction. Clip ready. Pressure here. His hands resumed their work, precise and deliberate. The crisis was managed. The pressure never left the room, but it ceased to be inside him. He had become a conduit for skilled response, not a container for panic. His calm was not the absence of pressure, but the presence of a practiced, mindful pause within it. Lena waited in the wings of Carnegie Hall, her violin cool against her neck. The pressure was a physical weight, a nausea of expectation, critics, mentors, the ghost of every great performer who had stood here. Her mind was a cacophony. What if my bow shakes? What if I memory lapse? This was the storm of future tripping, the tyranny of what if. Her peacetime drill was not just scales, but a specific pre-performance ritual. She would find a quiet corner, close her eyes, and not practice music. She would practice feeling. She would feel the weight of the violin in her hands, the texture of the wood, the grip of the bow. And she would follow her breath for 5 minutes, letting the thoughts of the performance arise and pass like cars on a distant highway. She was tuning her awareness, not her instrument. Now, in the wings, the maestro nodded. The audience hushed. The moment of absolute pressure was here. Lena did not step forward thinking about the finale. She thought of her ritual. As she walked to the center stage, the spotlight blinding, she brought her entire attention to the simple, physical reality of her body walking. Step. 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 She bowed, not to the audience, but to the sensation in her spine. She raised her violin. Before the first note, she took one silent, deep breath, feeling the air fill her, feeling her diaphragm expand. That breath was her homing beacon. It brought her out of the terrifying future of the performance and into the only point in time where music can ever exist, this present millisecond. The first note emerged not from a place of fear, but from that anchored, spacious present. The pressure of the hall became the container for her music, not its enemy. She played from within the calm center of the hurricane. At a sprawling county fair, amidst the whirl of lights and noise, Maya turned around and her 5-year-old son, Leo, was gone. The pressure that descended was primal, a visceral terror that emptied her lungs. The what-if thoughts were not professional, they were mortal. Pure, unadulterated panic threatened to swallow her whole. Maya had no time for a long meditation. But she had, for years, used the red lights of her commute as a drill to touch the breath. It was a neural pathway worn deep. As the dizzying fear rose, a part of her mind, trained by those countless repetitions, automatically triggered. While her body was already moving, her eyes scanning, a parallel internal process happened. Amidst the screaming thoughts, she found a single anchor point, the feeling of her own feet on the dusty ground. Feel the feet. Breathe. It was not a calm breath, but a conscious one, a gasp turned intentional. He is lost now. I am looking now. This simple, fierce anchoring in the present moment prevented her from spiraling into the paralyzing visions of ultimate disaster. It focused the panic into a laser of purposeful action. She could think clearly enough to retrace their steps, to shout his name with a voice that was strong, not shattered. She found him 2 minutes later, mesmerized by a puppet show. The relief was tidal. But in those 2 minutes of supreme pressure, her peacetime drills had kept her mind functional. She had been the lighthouse keeper, tending the light of her attention despite the storm of fear. Jian's tech startup, built over 5 grinding years, hinged on a single funding pitch. Minutes before the video call with venture capitalists, his lead developer messaged, a critical demo feature had a catastrophic bug. It wouldn't work. The pressure was existential, the future of the company, the livelihoods of his team, his own life's work, all seeming to crumble in an instant. The wave of despair and rage was immense. The old suitcase of past failures felt incredibly heavy. Jian stood up from his desk and walked to the window. He engaged in what he called dual awareness practice, something he'd learned in a mindfulness retreat. He let himself feel the full, fiery wave of the emotion, the heat in his face, the clench in his gut. He didn't try to stop it. Acknowledge the weather. Simultaneously, he widened his awareness to include everything else in his sensory field, the cool glass of the window against his fingers, the pattern of clouds in the sky, the distant sound of traffic. He was the sky holding the storm cloud of panic. He then dropped into the anchor, 3 deliberate breaths, feeling the expansion and contraction. From that slightly more spacious place, the principle of impermanence arose not as a thought, but as a knowing. This moment of disaster is also a wave. It will change. The problem was not permanent, it was acute. With this clarity, he made a decision rooted not in panic, but in pragmatic wisdom. He joined the VC call. With remarkable calm, he began, "Before I show you our demo, I need to be transparent. We've hit a last-minute technical snag with one feature. Instead of a broken demo, let me walk you through the architecture that makes this product viable, show you the working back-end, and give you my concrete plan to resolve this in 24 hours. His honesty, born from that moment of collected calm, was more impressive than a glitchy demo. The pressure catalyzed authenticity, not collapse. He had forgiven the moment for being imperfect and had met it with a present moment solution. These stories, the surgeon, the musician, the parent, the founder, are not about extraordinary people. They are about ordinary people applying an extraordinary, yet simple, framework. They felt the pressure fully. They did not bypass their humanity. But they had a system, a moment of pause to connect to awareness, the use of the breath as a homing beacon, the reliance on skills drilled in peacetime, and the heart's capacity to meet the moment without the extra weight of past narratives. They became, in their moments of trial, the calm within the storm. But the application deepens further. What about the slow, grinding pressure that isn't a single crisis, but a constant, wearing weight? Let's explore that next. Let us continue. We have seen the system work in acute crises, the operating room, the stage, the lost child, the make-or-break pitch. But life also exerts a different, more insidious form of pressure, the slow, constant grind. The chronic illness. The demanding caregiving role. The unfulfilling job you cannot yet leave. The long-term financial strain. This is not a sudden storm, it is a season of relentless, gray rain. The principles of the Buddha's wisdom must now show their durability, their capacity to create not just moments of calm, but a sustainable inner climate of resilience through a prolonged winter. Here, the practice shifts from managing a single wave to learning how to float, and even find moments of peace, in an ongoing sea. The core insight remains impermanence, but observed on a grander scale. Even a chronic situation is a series of fleeting moments, sensations, and thoughts, stitched together by the mind's narrative of my endless problem. The suffering multiplies when we project the current discomfort into a future that seems to stretch out, unchanging, forever. We freeze the entire season. The practice becomes one of micro-moments of impermanence. You are not trying to end the long rain. You are learning to notice that within the rain, each individual drop touches your skin and is gone. Each ache in the body arises, peaks, and fades, even if another follows. Each wave of despair crests and falls. You are training to inhabit the actual, fluid present, not the solid, terrible story about it. Your anchor, the breath, becomes even more vital. It is your constant companion in the marathon. The peacetime drill is now any moment you can carve out from the grind itself. It is the 3 breaths you take while the kettle boils for your elderly parents' tea. It is the feeling of your hands in warm dishwater. It is the conscious sigh you allow yourself in the car before entering a stressful workplace. You are not looking for an hour of blissful meditation, you are gathering seconds of sane presence, like collecting precious drops of fresh water in the desert. These micro-moments of anchoring prevent you from being completely absorbed into the oppressive narrative. They are tiny acts of rebellion that declare, in this second, I am here, breathing, and not entirely lost in the story of my struggle. And forgiveness, here, takes on a new dimension. It becomes forgiveness of the moment, and of yourself. Forgiving yourself for feeling exhausted, for resenting the situation, for not being a perfect caregiver or a stoic hero. Forgiving the day for being difficult. It is the gentle setting down of the suitcase labeled, how things should be, and meeting how things are with a less combative heart. Let's explore this through a new story, the long caregiving. For 7 years, Anya had been the primary caretaker for her husband, Ben, after a stroke that left him physically limited and often frustrated. The pressure was a constant, low hum, medications, appointments, lifted spirits, lifted bodies, the grief for the life they once had. It was a season of rain with no forecast of sun. Anya's breaking point came not in a crisis, but in a moment of mundane exhaustion, staring at a sink full of dishes at 10 p.m. She felt like a shell, empty of anything but duty and a dull ache. It was here she remembered a teaching, the way out is in. Not into the story, but into the sensation. She left the dishes. She sat on the kitchen floor, her back against the cabinet. She set a timer for 90 seconds. Her practice was brutally simple. For these 90 seconds, I will not be a caregiver. I will be a body breathing. She felt the cool linoleum through her clothes. She felt the ache in her lower back not as a symbol of her burden, but as a simple, changing pattern of physical sensation, tight, hot, pulsating. She watched her breath, ragged at first, then slowly deepening. For those 90 seconds, she was not Anya the tired caretaker. She was awareness itself, experiencing a tired body, a breath, a sound of the refrigerator. She touched the sky within. She did this not once, but as a daily micro-ritual. While Ben napped, she would sit for 3 minutes, using a mantra tied to her breath, this, inhale, 2, exhale. This present sensation, too, is part of life's flow. It was her direct challenge to the mind's story of permanent, monolithic suffering. She began to notice the micro-impermanence. Ben's smile after a good joke was a passing cloud of joy. His frustration was a passing storm. Her own fatigue was a wave that would recede slightly after rest. She also practiced a specific form of forgiveness meditation. At night, she would place a hand on her own heart and whisper, "It's so hard. May I be kind to myself in this." She wasn't forgiving Ben, she was forgiving herself for finding it hard, for sometimes wishing it would end. This self-forgiveness was the oil that kept her inner machinery from seizing up entirely. The pressure of the 7-year season did not vanish. But Anya changed her relationship to it. She stopped trying to carry the entire, heavy season at once. She learned to put it down, moment by moment, by returning to the breath and the body. She found she had a capacity for patience she didn't know was there, not because she was a saint, but because she was no longer fighting the reality of every single moment. Her calm was a deep, still pool that had been discovered underneath the long, steady rain. It didn't stop the rain, but she had found a place within herself that remained untouched by it. This application to chronic pressure reveals the ultimate goal, equanimity, upekkha. Equanimity is not numbness or indifference. It is the balanced, wise heart that can meet the pleasant and the unpleasant, the acute crisis and the long grind, without being swept away or crushed. It is the fruit of consistently applying our system. Seeing impermanence, anchoring in the present, drilling in peacetime, and letting go of what weighs down the heart. It is the unshakable calm that knows itself to be separate from the conditions it witnesses. To strengthen this equanimity, we must look at one of the most powerful, and most challenging, practices, turning directly toward the very sensation of pressure itself. Not away from it, but into its heart. This is the advanced maneuver in the art of calm. Let us continue. We have navigated acute storms and endured long seasons of rain. We have built a system of perspective, anchor, drill, and heart. Now we approach what may seem like a paradox, the advanced frontier of remaining calm under pressure, inviting the pressure in. Not resisting it, not managing it from a distance, but turning toward the raw, physical sensation of stress itself with open, curious awareness. This is where Buddhist practice moves from coping to alchemy. It is the process of transforming the fire of pressure into the light of wisdom. We spend so much energy building walls against pressure, trying to keep it out there. But the tension, the racing heart, the knot in the stomach, these are already inside. They are embodied experiences. Our suffering is doubled, first by the triggering circumstance, and second by our inner war against these resulting sensations. We say, "I can't stand this feeling. Make it stop." This resistance is the true amplifier. The Buddha's radical instruction is to stop the war. To lay down your weapons of resistance and, with the gentle curiosity of a scientist, to investigate the enemy. You will find it is not an enemy at all, but a constellation of innocent, impermanent sensations that you have been taught to fear. This practice is known as vipassana, clear seeing. It is insight meditation. In the context of pressure, it means when you feel the grip of anxiety, instead of reaching for the breath to escape it, you use the breath as a vehicle to explore it. You bring your anchored attention directly to the epicenter of the discomfort in the body. Where do you feel the pressure? Is it a tight band around the chest? A churning in the belly? A buzzing in the limbs? You approach it not as, "my terrible anxiety," but as, "this cluster of interesting physical phenomena." You note its qualities: heat, tension, vibration, pressure. You observe its boundaries. Is it static or moving? You breathe into it, not around it. Imagine your awareness as a soft, diffused light, and you are shining it directly into the heart of the tension. What you will discover, through direct experience, is the truth of anicca at the microscopic level. That solid, awful knot of pressure is not solid. Under the microscope of sustained, non-judgmental attention, it begins to reveal itself as a dance of minute, fleeting sensations. It pulses. It shifts. It changes temperature. It might even dissolve, or more likely, it will morph into something else, an emotion like sadness, or simply a release. You see, it is a process, not a thing. And in that seeing, a fundamental shift occurs. you are no longer fused with the pressure. There is the sensation, the observed. And there is the aware space noticing it, the observer. This creates dissociation in the healthiest sense, a critical inch of separation where freedom is found. The pressure may not vanish, but its power to define your reality is broken. You have met the monster, looked it in the eye, and seen it is made of smoke. Let's embody this within story, the investor's plunge. Kiran ran a high-stakes investment fund. His pressure was the market itself. A living, breathing entity of numbers and emotions. One day, due to an unforeseen geopolitical event, the screen flashed a sea of red. His portfolio was in freefall. Millions in paper value evaporated in minutes. The physiological reaction was violent, a metallic taste in his mouth, a vice around his temples, a feeling of hollowing out in his gut. The thought was, this is it. You failed. His old pattern was to frantically act, to make trades driven by this visceral panic. But that day, he did something different. He stood up, walked to his office bathroom, and locked the door. He sat on the edge of the bathtub. He didn't try to calm down. He thought, okay. Let's see what financial ruin actually feels like in the body. He closed his eyes. He located the sensations. The vice in the temples was a throbbing, tight pressure. The hollow gut was a cold, swirling emptiness. He named them silently, tightness, throbbing, cold, swirling. He breathed gently, directing the breath toward the hollow feeling in his stomach, as if warming it with his attention. He didn't try to change it. He just got to know it. As he observed, something shifted. The vice began to feel more like a pulsing. The hollowness felt more like a space. The sensations, stripped of their catastrophic story, became just sensations. Intense, unpleasant, but curiously empty of inherent meaning. The thought arose, these are the bodily signals of danger. But the danger is to a portfolio, not to my life. The fusion between bodily panic and professional identity began to unknot. After perhaps 4 minutes, he opened his eyes. The problem was unchanged. The screen was still red. But he was different. He was no longer in the panic, he had examined it. From this detached clarity, he could walk back to his desk, not to make a panic trade, but to methodically call his key analysts and assess the damage with a sober mind. He had plunged into the very heart of the pressure and discovered it was not a bottomless pit, but a collection of passing sensations. His calm was the profound calm that comes after facing a deep fear and surviving it. This practice of turning toward is the ultimate peacetime drill for the brave. You can practice it with minor irritations first. The next time you feel a flash of irritation in a traffic jam, don't curse. Turn your attention inside. Where is the irritation in the body? A heat in the face? A clenching in the jaw? Observe it for 3 breath cycles. You are training your mind to respond to discomfort not with automatic aversion, but with investigative curiosity. You are building the muscle to face the greater pressures. This leads to a powerful, related Buddhist concept, the second arrow. The Buddha said that in life, we cannot always avoid the first arrow, the painful event, the criticism, the loss, the market crash. That arrow flies from the world and strikes us. But we then, with our resistance, our storytelling, our catastrophic thinking, we shoot ourselves with a second, third, and fourth arrow. This shouldn't be happening. It's going to ruin everything. I can't handle this. The physical sensation of pressure is often the first arrow's impact. Our mental resistance is the volley of second arrows we unleash upon ourselves, compounding the pain exponentially. The practice of turning toward the sensation with bare attention is the act of ceasing to fire the second arrows. You feel the first arrow's sting, and you simply stop. You don't add to it. In that cessation is an immense, unexpected calm. The pain is allowed to be just pain, not a launching pad for a mental civil war. So, the path to unshakable calm under the greatest pressure involves this courageous intimacy with your own experience. You stop fighting the feeling. You greet it. You investigate it. You discover its empty, impermanent nature. And in that discovery, you are free. The pressure loses its fangs because you have willingly placed your hand in its mouth and found no teeth, only the illusion of form. We have journeyed from understanding to application to deep investigation. Now, let us weave all these threads together into the fabric of a daily life, creating a personal culture of calm that endures. Let us continue. We have traversed from foundational wisdom to advanced investigation. Now, we arrive at synthesis, how to weave these threads into the very fabric of your daily life, creating a personal culture of calm that endures, a resilient ecosystem within. This is not about adding more tasks to your day, it is about changing the quality of attention you bring to the tasks already there. It is about building what we might call the mindful operating system. Think of your current state of mind as an operating system running on old code written by reactivity, past conditioning, and societal messages that say, pressure must be fought. This old OS is buggy. It freezes under load, panic, runs too many background processes, worry, and crashes easily, burnout. The teachings of the Buddha offer an update, a more elegant, efficient, and stable OS rooted in present moment awareness, impermanence, and compassion. Installing this update requires deliberate, consistent patching of your daily routines. The installation happens in 3 layers: ritual, integration, and community. First, ritual. This is your formal peacetime drill, but framed as a non-negotiable gift to yourself. It is the dedicated time where you practice the skills offline, in a controlled environment, so they function online in the chaos of life. This is your daily meditation sit. Not as a chore, but as the most important meeting of your day, the meeting with yourself. It can be 10 minutes in the morning before checking your phone. The instruction is simple: sit, feel your body, follow your breath. When the mind wanders to yesterday's pressure or tomorrow's worry, gently note, thinking, and return to the breath. You are not doing this to feel zen, you are doing it to repetitively execute the command, return to the present anchor. You are creating a deep groove in the mind's neural pathways. This ritual is the core system update. It is where you practice being the sky, so you can remember it when the clouds cover everything. Second, integration. This is where you weave mindfulness into the tapestry of your existing life. You don't need more time, you need different attention. This is the practice of micro-moments of arrival. Choose 3 to 5 mundane triggers throughout your day. 1. The doorway pause. Every time you walk through a doorway, let it be a reminder to feel your feet on the ground for one breath. 2. The phone breath. Before you unlock your phone, take one conscious breath. 3. The waiting practice. Anytime you are waiting, for a file to download, a person to arrive, a microwave to beep, instead of clawing for your phone, simply feel the sensations in your body. Be present for the waiting itself. 4. The task anchor. During a routine task like washing hands or brushing teeth, bring 90% of your attention to the physical sensations, the temperature of the water, the movement of the brush. These are not meditations. They are tiny, strategic punctures in the automatic pilot mode. They are constant, gentle reboots that keep your updated OS running in the background. They transform dead time into a live time, and pressure becomes something you experience consciously, not something that hijacks you unconsciously. 3rd, community and intention. Your environment and intention shape your mind. This is about creating a supportive ecosystem. Digital Sangha, curate your input. Maybe following Monk's Temple is part of this. Surrounding yourself with reminders, not just of stress, but of peace. Let your digital spaces have voices that point you back to your center. Intention setting. Begin your day, perhaps after your ritual sit, with a quiet intention. Not a goal like, finish the report, but a quality like, today, I will meet frustration with a breath, or I will practice seeing the impermanence in difficult moments. This plants a seed that will influence your subconscious responses. Reflective pause. End your day with a 2-minute review. Not a replay of failures, but a gentle inquiry. When did I remember my anchor today? When did I forget? Do this without judgment. It is data collection for your inner scientist. Let's see this OS in action through a final, comprehensive story, The Teacher's Year. Mr. Evans taught in an under-resourced middle school. His pressure was chronic and multifaceted. Large classes, administrative burdens, the emotional weight of his students' lives, the sense of fighting a systemic tide. By November, he was a ghost of himself, snapping at students, dreading each day, his calm entirely depleted. His shift began with a commitment to ritual. He started getting up 12 minutes earlier. For 10 minutes, he would sit on a cushion in his living room with a simple candle. His rule, no checking email until after the sit. He just followed his breath. The first weeks were a battle with sleep and planning, but he persisted. This was his daily system update. He then chose integrations. His triggers were, the bell between classes, a breath before engaging with the new group, the act of picking up a red pen to grade, a moment to feel the pen in his hand and his intention to be fair, and the walk to his car at the end of the day, feeling each step, letting the day go. These were his micro-reboots. He also set a daily intention. Each morning, after his sit, he'd whisper, "Today, may I see the child behind the behavior." This reframed his biggest trigger, student disruptions, from personal attacks to calls for help, changing his entire emotional response. The change was not overnight. But by February, the ecosystem within him had shifted. When a defiant student yelled in class, a year prior, Mr. Evans would have erupted, firing second arrows of resentment all afternoon. Now, he felt the hot flash of anger, first arrow. The bell trigger breath created a micropause. In that space, his intention arose, see the child behind the behavior. He took another breath, his anchor. He saw the student's anger not as a solid wall, but as a passing storm cloud, impermanence. From that calm center, he could say, quietly, "I see you're upset. Let's talk after class." The disruption ended faster. The pressure of the moment was contained, not exploded. He had not become a perfect, unflappable saint. He had become a man with a functional inner operating system that could handle the load without crashing. His calm was a renewable resource, fed by his daily rituals and micro-practices. This is the culmination. Remaining calm under pressure is not a personality trait you are born with. It is a culture you cultivate. It is an updated operating system you install through ritual, you maintain through integration, and you protect with wise intention and community. The pressure of life becomes the stress test for your system, showing you where the bugs are, where you need to patch, where your attention has drifted. You are no longer a victim of external pressure, you are the attentive gardener of your inner climate. We have come to the final contemplation, the view from the mountain. Let us look back on the path we have walked and forward to the journey that is always just beginning. Here, at the end of our exploration, we arrive not at a conclusion, but at a beginning. The question of how to remain calm under pressure was never about finding a single, secret technique. It was an invitation to undertake a profound shift in relationship, to your thoughts, to your feelings, and to the ever-changing world. We began by looking up, remembering you are the sky, not the weather, the vast, aware space that can hold any passing storm of circumstance. This is the ultimate refuge, the view from the mountain. From this vantage point, we gathered practical tools, the breath, an anchor ever present in the now, the daily drill, the sweat in peacetime that builds resilience for war, and the courageous, compassionate work of the heart, learning to set down the heavy suitcases of the past. We then moved closer, learning not just to observe the storm from a distance, but to walk directly into its center with investigative curiosity. To meet the raw sensations of pressure and discover their empty, impermanent nature. This is the alchemy that transforms fear into freedom, not by removing the cause, but by removing our resistance to its effects. Finally, we saw how these are not isolated practices, but threads to be woven into the very fabric of daily life through ritual, integration, and intention. This creates a mindful operating system, a personal culture of calm that you carry within you, into the boardroom, the classroom, the quiet sick room, and the noisy world. The calm you seek was never out there, waiting for the perfect, pressure-free life, a life that will never come. It is in here. It is the innate clarity of your own awareness, which has been there all along, beneath the chatter and the churn. The pressures of life do not create this awareness. They merely obscure it, like clouds obscuring the sun. Your practice is not to create the sun, but to patiently, consistently, clear the clouds. So as you move forward from this space at Monk's Temple, carry this with you, the next time pressure mounts, and it will, see it as your teacher. It is not an interruption to your peace, it is the very occasion to practice it. In that moment, you have a choice, made possible by all your moments of prior practice. You can contract into the wave, becoming the turmoil. Or, you can pause. You can feel your feet on the ground. You can take one breath that is deeper, slower, more aware than the last. In that breath, you remember the sky. You become the lighthouse keeper, tending your steady beam. You become the scientist, curiously observing the sensation. You become the gardener, tending your inner ecosystem. This is the timeless path walked by the Buddha. It is a path of gentle, unwavering attention. It is a path that leads not to a distant paradise, but to a profound peace available right in the midst of this messy, beautiful, pressured human life. You have everything you need. The sky is within. The anchor is in your next breath. The practice is this very moment. Begin. May you be peaceful. May you be calm. May you move through the world with a heart that is light, clear, and unshakably free. Thank you for walking this path.